Hello, KIN31 students. This is for body sculpting, and it's coming from your textbook, page 4, specific topic on the specific benefits of resistance training. So let's get to the slideshow. Now, the first one is it increases bone mineral density. Bone is a living tissue just like your muscles, and resistance training is a weight-bearing activity. So when bones are challenged with bearing weight, just like your muscles, they grow in density as a response or as a training effect. This prevents osteoporosis if that is a risk factor when you get older, which is the case in general, because older people start moving less and challenging their bones less, and their bone, as you can see in this picture, the one at the top is a normal bone density, and slowly getting to osteoporosis where you lose the density and your bones are prone to be broken easily. So weight bearing means that you either lift external weights or you just work with your body weight against some sort of external force, gravity being one, as you see in these pictures. Excuse me. It increases physical function in ADLs. ADL means activities of daily living. You can think about your own life. You lift grocery bags, you bend to put on socks or shoes, get out of bed, get in the car, get out of the car. So these are the day-to-day activities that we go through every day, and it looks like we can increase the physical function of those activities. And this is my style or personal approach to teaching and doing body sculpting. Functional resistance training. These are movements that mimic the everyday moves that we go through. There's rotation in them, and they don't happen in just one dimension. Rather, they happen in multi-dimension, and they include both upper and lower body movements at the same time, as you see in this picture, which is me doing a lunge with bicep curls at the same time. And you can even make this harder or more real, if you will, by reaching down and adding a rotation to it, which is a real life movement or an activity of a daily life. It increases your resting metabolic rate. That means you're going to be burning more calories as you just sit and rest, which is a great thing. As you see in this picture, these are models of fat tissue and a muscle tissue. They both weigh 5 pounds, and fat takes up so much room with the same amount of weight. So when you increase your muscle mass in your body, since that muscle, even though it's dense and looks small, has its own metabolism. That means it goes through burning fuel, burning calories, and creating energy, as opposed to fat, which is a dead tissue and doesn't do anything, doesn't have its metabolism during rest. So when you have more muscle, you burn more calories compared to the old you before adding more muscle mass. It also slows sarcopenia and age-related factors in skeletal muscle. And you might ask what sarcopenia is. Sarcopenia, by definition, is the loss of muscle cells in our muscle tissue due to aging. And this happens after you are 30 years of age, and then increases radically, and studies show that at the age of 75 you will be losing more than 50% of your functional capacity. So as you look at this cross-sectional muscle tissue, the gray dark gray part. The one in the middle is your bone, and the dark gray part is the muscle tissue that surrounds the bone, and then the fat surrounds the muscle. So when you're age 25, as you can see, it's nice and thick, dense, but as you age, you will be losing that muscle cell, not just because you don't move as much as you were doing when you were younger, but it's because of aging itself. So other age-related factors also include like losing your quickness and agility because of the diminishes happening in your neuromuscular system, or the communication between your neurons in the brain or your nervous system and the muscles. So when you do resistance training, you can slow down the diminish that happens into your musculoskeletal system. Now the next one is directly related to your health and vitality, actually, because of how the blood is being delivered to the tissues that need the most. So as you see in this picture, this is a blood vessel, and inside of it are the plaques that cause clogging of your blood vessels, and it's like a highway that is blocked with the cars, so you can't get that ambulance to the hospital because it's all blocked. So LDL is a bad cholesterol, or you can remember it with the letter L, lousy, and it literally blocks, by sticking to the walls of your arteries, the blood flow. So HDL is the healthy cholesterol, which works against that process. As you see in this, LDL dumps it and HDL clears it. It's like the clearing agent in your plumbing system. Triglycerides as well. Those are the fat in your bloodstream or blood vessels, and they also decrease with resistance training. This is also, again, directly related to your health and vitality because it's the insulin sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity is a good thing. You want insulin sensitivity and you don't want insulin resistance. They're opposite of one another. And insulin resistance predisposes the individual to be diabetic. And because insulin is resistant and cannot do its job, which is putting the extra glucose that you just ate through a lot of sugary foods and snacks and unhealthy food, putting away that extra sugar that just got dumped into your bloodstream to the storages. That's insulin's job. But when there is resistance in the cell membrane, insulin cannot get through the membrane to inside the cell and do its job. So it's been shown by research that resistance training increases GLUT4 receptors. They are placed on the cell membrane. They're like the doors that open the door to the inside the cell for the insulin to get in and do its job. So it's a great thing, and it's been shown by research. So we want to include more resistance training in our lives to be healthy. And it improves glycemic control through increasing insulin sensitivity. So remember, insulin sensitivity is a positive thing, and we want to increase it, and the resistance is not a good thing. It's a resistance that your body builds against the insulin, and you want to decrease it. And next, this is again directly related to your health, and it's the blood pressure. If you start resistance training with an elevated blood pressure, systolic or diastolic, it will be decreased with resistance training back to the normal values, which is a great thing because blood pressure is a silent killer, which means you really do not feel any symptoms of it, but all of a sudden your arteries are blocked or they're over worked, and you might get a heart attack. So blood pressure, you want to keep it in the normal range. We already talked about it, and again, research shows that 53% of the adult Americans have hypertension or high blood pressure. So it would be a good remedy. Resistance training would be a great remedy to work against that. And another benefit, brain related, mental health and cognitive benefits. Again, research shows us that the resistance training provides heightened cognitive abilities by developing more neural pathways in the brain, and it also creates better management and control of depression. As you see in the second picture, it's very interesting. Frontal cortex, which is what this frontal portion of your brain where we make judgments and logical decisions. So depression changes the brain metabolism and blood flow towards the frontal cortex, and this is your healthy away from the frontal cortex. There's no blood flow, as you can see, with a in a person's brain with chronic depression, and in the healthy individual, you see the redness, the blood flow toward the frontal cortex. And it also increases self-image. You will like your body and yourself in return, and it's going to increase your self-esteem. So this is about it. Thank you for listening.